What's up, guys? This is Manga, and welcome to a review of two separate single volume manga. Well, kind of single volume for one of the two, but it's really cool and I'm really excited. You probably can tell from the title and the thumbnail, but let's get right into the video. First up, we have the highly anticipated Death Note short stories by Tsugumi Oba and Takashi Obata. It has a brilliant front cover with Ryuk from Death Note and Minoru Tanaka, who is the main character of one of these short stories. It is in a gray, it has a gray cover, kind of matte feel to it, and then on the front it has kind of a glossy Death Note logo. There we go. Yeah, and then. Honestly, I actually really like that top with Ryuk being covered by the title. In the back also has the same picture, but you can see his face. And going over some of the different stories that are in here. And there's some really cool stuff. There is obviously the 2018 or 19 short story with Minoru Tanaka, where he gets the Death Note and then auctions it up online, and yeah, that was a really good read. I really enjoyed it. Honestly, I kind of wished it was a little longer and didn't. I think the ending was okay, but for the most part, everything else was really cool. And then also the other really crazy short story in here is the original Death Note one-shot, which is Ryuk is pretty much the same, but a lot of the rules that are in the Death Note are changed, and there was a very different rule that was added in this short story, which was in the original one-shot, where if you erased a person's name, they would be alive again, which I think ended up being a good choice to remove, but I think for this original one shot it worked. Yeah, so I think this is, if you're a fan of Death Note at all, which I think most people are, and have the manga, this is definitely worth picking up. And let me show you how it stands up to the Death Note Black Edition, because there are some slight differences. So obviously the gray color doesn't look super great together, in my opinion at least. And the Death Note Black editions are slightly taller, and actually the Death Note short stories is slightly thicker than the Death Note Black editions. But either way, they're still great. It's still a great thing to have in your collection, and I highly recommend it. There's also some stories about L and like his daily life, how he got picked and how he came to be, and another person who got the Death Note, and yeah, there's some just fun stories in here that are great for any Death Note fans. Next up is Blue Lock Volume 1, which is the first volume of an amazing series. So this is the first volume that's been printed in English. It came out this month, even though it has ran in. It has been published for a long time in Japan, and I think in some other countries. I don't know specifically how long it's been out there, but the closest like sports anime to it, I would say, would be Haikyuu, but it kind of takes, if the general theme of Haikyuu is teamwork and working together to grow, I would say Blue Lock's theme is kind of the exact opposite. It's full of egotism is the drive of the characters. So the story is by Munuyuki Kaneshiro, and the art is by Yusuke Nomura. Yusuke Nomura has some fantastic art throughout this entire series. I was just looking at how wonderful the artwork for this series is, and it's just phenomenal. I love it. I love the lime green and blue color. Really makes the cover pop. I've looked at some of the other front covers, and they don't keep the blue and they keep the blue, but they don't keep the lime green, but all the colors really pop, and I think it's gonna look great on the shelf altogether. I don't know how frequently they're gonna release volumes. I think there's up to like 12 volumes in Japan. I haven't seen like the full like list, but Blue Lock is getting an anime I think in October or somewhere around there. So I think that's what prompted Kodansha to release these physically to kind of up the prices. Not up the prices, but up sales on the series. It's very popular in Japan, and so it's great that this is finally getting a physical release. The general premise is that about 300 of Japan's best players have been selected for a training camp, essentially, to become the next striker on Japan's international team. The only problem is only one of these 300 of Japan's best players will be selected, and those who do not make the cut can never play soccer for the rest of can never play soccer professionally for the rest of their lives. So it's actually like, for a sports series, there are stakes in the series, even though it's not life or death stakes. It's, will they be able to play soccer professionally and pursue a career in soccer, which I think for a kind of non-action shonen is a great, where life and death is not really at stake. That's a great stake for the series, and I think it's really good. It's definitely worth checking out, and I've really enjoyed reading the series so far. It's only 4 chapters, so I think it's about a monthly series, but the chapters are pretty long, so it's worth it. So yeah. So even though these two are by 2 separate publishers, Death Note Short Stories is by Viz and Blue Lock is by Kodansha, their trim size is honestly pretty similar, and I don't necessarily mind that it makes them be able to be together close on the shelf and not look weird. To be honest, I think they're both fantastic covers, fantastic stories, and I really enjoyed reading each one of these series. The main difference between the two actually is that I forgot to mention this with the Death Note volume, but there are French flaps on the series, and also this is another alternate artwork for the cover. So that's pretty cool, and I like that about it. They're just both like very gripping stories, and definitely worth reading and checking out. They're honestly like great for any collection, especially if you're a big fan of sports anime and manga. Blue Lock is perfect for you. Honestly, the artwork kind of reminds me of later Haikyuu, which has some of the best artwork in manga in my opinion. And then obviously Takashi Obata is a brilliant artist, and both of these have fantastic art, and it just is very good to get Death Note Short Stories finally like in print and physically. And as well as for Blue Lock, Blue Lock has, I think, it's been out for at least since 2018. I think, and it just feels strange to have a series get so far in Japan and not get an English print until just recently. So I'm pretty sure that what fueled Blue Lock getting an English print is the upcoming anime in I think around October, definitely fall of this year. And it's kind of similar to what happened with Tokyo Revengers, is that Tokyo Revengers is now getting an English print in August, I think, from 7 Seas. And even though the manga has like 24 or 25 volumes. So yeah, it's interesting. Something I've been learning over the past few months is the whole manga industry and how separate that is from the anime industry in terms of prioritizing series and stuff like that. And sometimes just seeing like, why don't these series are super popular in Japan, why don't they think that it might not be popular in America and hesitate to release stuff and stuff like that? So that's something that's been really interesting. Obviously, I think Death Note was to be expected. They just wanted to collect more of the short stories altogether. Yeah, I'm really excited to see how Blue Lock keeps going. What's all gonna happen? I'm hoping that yeah, Death Note is fantastic. I hope that the Blue Lock anime is really good. Honestly, I think some of the Death Note short stories could make pretty good Death Note movies, especially the one with Minoru Tanaka. Not live action, obviously. I would prefer it to be an anime movie. But anyway, that's all I have for today. Please like, comment, subscribe. Check out some of my other videos, especially my previous review of Deadpool Samurai and my previous manga collection. And I'll see you guys again. Ciao.